discussed to shift the destiny of our country positively.
The same allegation of corruption, there are multiple cases where current officials of this government are being alleged to be deeply involved with corruption. Why not subject them to the same treatment? If Master Kimia can be good enough to go to prison on allegation of corruption, I mean, Moda should be good enough to go to prison as well.
This is to me, you know exactly what happened up Capitol. You have the evidence to prove what happened up Capitol beyond all reasonable doubt. So we do not have to keep running in circles. Investigation is now a single day. The government of Liberia is an interest. It's a party in this case.
There is part of the many challenges in Liberia: poor education, joblessness, and underdevelopment. The question are, how will Liberians be reconciled with self-division, divisive, and destructive politics?
Let me address this private jet issue. My response may not go down well. As Dara Dela, who campaigned against private jet, use of private jet against President Weah, I want to publicly apologize to President Weah. We did not understand the constraints and the reasons and the justification for using private jet.
What troubles me is to hear a sitting president, Joseph Parker, and his men to try to have a country apart. We are a post-conflict nation. Our peace is fragile. What we need to do is to reconcile and bring our people together, not to separate us, not to divide us, not to destroy this country anymore.
How can Liberians decide on progressiveness and think on how they can build and develop their country? How can 178 years old country build capacity of young Liberians and create job opportunity and enable the Liberian citizens to live a better life? Answer these questions plus many more. John K. OK and Princess Elisa Vante Colley from Monday to Thursday at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. for the program Freedom Hub, for the most informative talk show that brings the real issue without fear to the Liberian people on Freedom FM 87.9. Freedom Communication Incorporated brings to you Freedom Hub. Freedom Hub, a 2-hour informative forum where key issues are discussed to shift the destiny of our
guess what? Then people come and play. Oh, we didn't eat here with me. The son of me, they get a husband as decision and second for free bowl. I was there to it's we didn't mind it. Yes, we didn't it's a rescue. I just want to ask you one question. Now, will you give the rescue? You're not giving the people what they want. Then you say you give the rescue. Let me ask you, Mr. Rescue, the people say not like you. You say you coming to rescue your people. Oh, that's why you to us. You even claim to even be the hero for your experience. But why you to us? So why the rest not stable? No job, no food to put on the table. Not just for the poor. Once you not get no money, rest assured your kids get poor. No opportunity for the youth. Instead of help people, they bringing poverty on the youth. Tell me why the people vote you for. You treating the people. I used to say you not love. It's a rescue. I just wanna ask you one question. That will you give the rescue? You're not giving the people what they want. Then you say you give the rescue. Let me ask you, Mr. Rescue, the people say not like you. You say you are going to change things. But we're not seeing changes. I'm just saying you made your rescue team. We're not seeing changes. You made the whole country divided into two. CDC and Unity Party, they can't conclude. You downsizing, you wish hunting. Now on the top of the Liberian people suffering. You downsizing, you wish hunting. Now on the top of the Liberian people suffering. Tell me who you rather give the rescue now. You and your rescue team. I say, it's a rescue.
Okay, folks, welcome. Another edition of Freedom Hub right here on Freedom.
I guess what?
87.9.
Oh, we didn't eat here with me then. Just not all minute and get it wrong.
And this is how we like to start on this beautiful Thursday evening. If you driving home, I like to say drive with care. Plenty of things to talk about today. And yes, Princess and Oliver Kahn, they are around. Later on, they will join me here in order to discuss some national issues. Plenty of things to talk about. We in Liberia, the 45,000 square miles, yes, 16 tribes, 15 counties. And together we can build our country. Together we can, discuss these issues. Promise, we have promised that there is no opportunity to use the guns. And so we will continue to use the modern day trumpet, the voice to echo our messages in the ears of our people. And there will be no fear. We're not going to compromise our cause for discussing national issues. So if you're there via Facebook, I'd like to say welcome. And if you follow us via the FM dial, I'd like to say welcome. Now, like everyone knows how things are moving. You have to take your time. Like I said, there are a lot of issues to discuss, plenty of things, warning everywhere across the country. If you are not warning yourself, the government will be warning you. And one of the latest, issues, the government of Liberia initially announced 2 days ago that there will be, no increment in gasoline or even fuel. 2 days ago. We bring these things to the public that you'll be able to know that a responsible government should know, the reality, because no one reads the future. In less than 48 hours, the government of Liberia has announced a new price for fuel across the country. And another thing, that is our first talking point here. The president of the Republic of Liberia, Joseph Umai Boakai, has finally warned the Minister of Commerce, easy. Look, like I always saying to you, anything you get through lies or you use lies, those things, they are not going to last. No matter how you turn it, no matter how you want to fix it, no matter how you use the lies to protect it, it's going to fall. And these are the realities on the ground. And these are things we're going to flag. The president, Joseph Boakai, today, in year 3 of the Unity Party, has finally threatened the Minister of Commerce. Now, the question is, if the folks of the government of the Republic of Liberia were bragging, defending, and celebrating that, hey, everything is okay in the country. Oh, we have dropped the price of rice. We have done this. We have done this. Why is it the president will be complaining that things are not fine in the country? Why is he warning the Minister of Commerce? With all of the, things he has claimed to put in place. If you can wear your belt, wear your belt. If you can tie your waist, tie your waist. Because if the president starts to complain It tells you it is not about political fight. It is about the reality that the country is faced with. And these are things we have to address. Look, the government of Liberia has a responsibility. So when you sit at the information ministry and think you are in opposition and want to behave like an opposition political party, look, you have a responsibility to answer to the people. You're not going to behave like the ANC. You're not going to behave like the CDC or any political institutions. You know why? You are the ruling party. You are answerable to the people of Liberia. And I see folks at the information ministry and other government angles, you know, every day they go there, when they are not talking to one opposition political leader, then they get other small people to talk about. No. You branded the past government as inept, nothing they could offer. So the Liberian people say, here is the obligation. So to be discussing where, to be discussing comments, to be discussing other political leaders, it is not the responsibility. That responsibility is resting on your shoulder to prove that, yes, you were better than we are. So we are is not in the picture anymore. We are is no more in the picture. Perform. You can't be in year 3 after all of the bragging. And then the president of the country is still complaining. Because the Ministry of Commerce controls the belly of the people. The price of rice, the commodities. So if the president announced that, hey, we have dropped the price of rice, we have done this, I send the vice president to look at all what we should have looked at. Here is the place we are. Why is the president now complaining? So all of us, the 5 million people or the 5.5 million people already agreed that Joseph Braka, that your unity party we won. How come we are in year 3? How come we are in year 3? And today in February, you are complaining that, hey, the Liberian people, they are suffering. And I hear people talking about, oh, you know, people have to talk and opposition, they have to fight the unity party, they have to be strong, they have to do this. No, there are certain people you just don't fight. You know why? Because when somebody receives something based on lies, they will crumble. They are going to crumble, and that's where we are. And that is why I'm informing the people of this country to tie your belt, because I don't want you to get in that gallop. The country is in a mess. The country is in a complete mess, and this man gonna go down in the history as the worst president ever in the country, in the history of our country. Joseph Yuma Braka will go down as the worst president ever, because nobody is fighting war. Nobody is fighting war. Nobody. So let me give the information. President Joseph Yuma Braka has issued a strong warning to officials of the Ministry of Commerce, stressing that the government will not tolerate poor performances from institutions responsible for regulating Liberia's business sector. Now, here is the same man who left the people who he claimed to be responsible for regulating prices or other things as far as the Commerce Ministry is concerned, went to the vice president because in his mind, the vice president knows everything. But in a responsible environment, with a responsible government, there are professionals who understand the dynamics of the economics. And here is a president who thinks that That's the same thing he's doing. Left the Ministry of Public Works and went to a person who stole the AFL people money, and he said, "The memo can't take care of yellow machine." And today, after making mistake, you come back and want to blame the people at the Commerce Ministry. Why are you blaming the Vice President? And Unity Party folks will tell you, "Oh, rice price is down, the other thing is down, the other thing is down." Look, there will be mistake every day. Executive order this, executive order that, the other number, the other number. If you go to the market right now, the price of rice is high. The nation's staple food, the price of rice is high. And when you sell a cup of rice for $50 in a country where the ruling party say the rice price is at the lowest, that means you fooling the people of this country. And you think we're supposed to dance with you? No. We are not going to dance with you. The question is, will all the executive order that President Bwaka has established based on the issue of the nation's staple food, why is he complaining that the Ministry of Commerce isn't doing well? Why is he complaining? Why is he complaining? And this is where we're going to keep going. At the end of the day, this country will go down as the Western under this man. You know why? Because he's not a president who knows what to do. He's confused. It's like somebody say 2 plus 2, then you say 9. Somebody say 4 plus 4, then you say 11. You took the yellow machine, the used yellow machine you brought into the country. You let the engineer out. You brought in a man who is already tainted with corruption. And you say, "Oh, can't take care of the machines." Because you won't please your county people. Is that how you run government? Is that how you run a government? And all the political nurse, all the imperial nurse, all the organization nurse, the 7 counts of nurses, you people were causing it during the time we are running the country. We are left no time. We are left long time. Today, everything going here to scatter. Transportation, school fees, anybody can just get out and say anything. These are the professional people. These are the people who you thought that giving your country Liberia to a man like Bwaka with a bunch of group of criminals around him, and you think everything will be roses. No. So last year, imagine last year they were telling us rice price, the other thing, everything is okay. Today, in March, the president is angry. The president of the Republic of Liberia is angry with the Ministry of Commerce. I thought these things should be behind us by now. I thought these things should be behind us by now. You know, sometimes when you take a particular thing and think when you give it to Mr. X, it's going to do well. The person you believe in, the trust you exhibited, the action you made in 2023, there where we are. Here are the results. Everyday cabinet meeting, no results, nothing. All of the things you see, oh, the other role, oh, the other project, oh, these other project. These projects are things that were done by the past regime. So we're not going to talk about it. What has Bwaka brought to the country? When the US rate is not fluctuating today, tomorrow, another thing comes out. And this is the cycle we're going to be in, year out. Year in, year out. Speaking at the cabinet meeting, the Liberian leader said the ministry must take its responsibility seriously, particularly in addressing the concerns of business owners and the people of Liberia. Let me read that again. Speaking at the cabinet meeting, the Liberian leader said the ministry must take its responsibility. How can the ministry take the responsibility when the president took the responsibility from the Ministry of Commerce and gave it to the vice president who knows nothing about economy? You think when somebody goes sell scratch card down, they go sell gas or they go sell wedding, you think that person is knowledgeable to the economy? No. So if the vice president was selling scratch card, does it mean that he understands the dynamics of the economy? No, he has no knowledge. So the president himself is confused. The president of the Republic of Liberia is confused. So he cannot be referencing the Ministry of Commerce or the people at the Ministry of Commerce as confused people that you take charge of the responsibility. No. Because you yourself as president, you have been violating laws of our country. You have been violating laws of our country. You don't even regard the laws. And then you look at somebody and say, oh, my man, the man at the Commerce Ministry, the man confused. Joseph Boakai, you are the most confused person in this country. Trust me. Because if you are not confused, you will not take yellow machine and give it to somebody who went to jail for stealing AFL people money, who wanted to bring war to our country. You know what it means? To take $25 every month from every AFL soldier, and then you say, oh, at a particular time, we'll get that money back. At the end of the day, you can't find that money. You take the yellow machine because you won't please Brandon Samuka, who comes from Lofa County. You take the money and you take the yellow machine and give it to him. What kind of president is this? What kind of president is this? As a matter of fact, Boakai is not a president. He's a community chairman. He is a community chairman. Because, look, it just doesn't hold. It just doesn't hold. Now, he wants to sift bling. After informing the entire country that I am giving the responsibility of the Commerce Ministry to the Vice President, whether the Vice President is playing medicine with him, nobody knows. Because the Vice President was saying scratch car in Nimba County. Scratch car. Is that somebody just want to be turning around to be saying that charcoal? So you say, oh, then maybe he knows about the business. No. There are stages. There are times these things happen. But you don't do it in the form of a country. Because we're talking about 5 million people responsibility. You don't take it to a man who doesn't understand anything. But anyway, we live in a country where, ministers, commissioners, directors, for people to resign is very difficult. But if we were in a civilized and developed country, trust me, that woman, by now she gone, she resigned. But they themselves, they believe in too much stealing. So it's like criminal is angry with criminal. Have you seen, let me just give you a scenario. Have you seen somebody jack somebody bag? The minute I jack that bag, that 3 people, they jack the bag. Another person comes and say, how much? Because roll doesn't trust roll. The other person comes and say, how much? What happened? And say, oh, somebody jacked my bag. Say, how much are in the bag? You know why that person asking? Because the person knows that when he goes back, he wants to know the exact amount that in that bag. So he goes back to the woman or the person and say, oh, somebody, my man, that money that the woman said that $10 or that 1,000. Joseph Boakai is a criminal. His ministers, they are criminals. Bunch of criminals messed together. You can't get anything good. He finished burning. A president has burned. Then he comes back and say, oh, the woman should take care of the responsibility. What kind of responsibility you gave the vice president, and what kind of responsibility you gave him, you telling the woman about? It is the same thing you do with the vice president and the yellow machine. Tomorrow, after a year, you will start to complain. When you take the physical decisions, at the end of the day, you blame the ministers, because for you don't look. Sometimes, I really want to get high, but sometimes we just need to leave things, let the thing just happen. I'm still trying to comprehend. How come a man who wasn't able to take care of his own life, that the people of this country will be so naive to put their future in this kind of man? The men were making close to $22,000 every month. Millions of dollars in his budget. Imagine the old man who can sell their billboard, their pepper, their charcoal. Some of them, they were doing well. They can take their money and put their susu. One Joseph Boakai, uninterrupted, nobody fighting war, nothing, in peace. The men were taking $22,000, and all of the 68 concessions agreement that came into this country that the international community said they were bogus. Joseph Boakai's signature were on all of those bogus concession agreement as president of the Senate. The bugger in year 13, the man broke. Then he opens his mouth and say he's living on loan. That kind of make you take serious? Liberians, how did you come so low to this kind of thinking? How? Even the old man in the market, they are thinking far better than Boakai. What did he do with the money? There are some lawmakers there, some ministers there who work under the Ellen government, the Weah government. Today, they are still stable. If that man could come as low as begging Costa them for money to go eat, Costa King said some things about Boakai. How come our people managed to put their trust in this man? And after 700 or 900 days, the men still complaining that, hey, the Liberian people, they are suffering. The Ministry of Commerce, when the president is telling you that the Ministry of Commerce is not performing, obviously he's telling you that the government is breaking down. That is the message. Because when a man speaks, anybody who is, whether the person is speaking colloquial or the person is speaking formal English, anyone who speaks, there are two things. Either you pull logic or you pull it. Now, what Boakai is trying to tell the public, the logic in Boakai concession there is that, hey, it's not easy. That after 3 years in his government, the Ministry of Commerce, that should be exited. Because even if the man is not able to pay his children's school fees, but he should be able to provide, let the children eat in the house. Hold the people's stomach. And when you start complaining that the Ministry of Commerce, the place that is responsible for business, to keep the energy turning in the country, if it reaches to that level, but one thing I can promise Boakai and say, nobody will protest.